Hi everyone, and this is Fiona at Drawings in a Drawer, and welcome to a new video. This is going to be a sketchbook tour, and I'm going to demonstrate what my journey in watercolor has been like up till now. So last spring, around, I think it must have been like March 2019, I purchased this Canson sketchbook. It's a normal sketchbook, not watercolor paper. And I saw on Instagram that some artists were doing portraits with just a little bit of colour in them. It actually turned out to be gouache, but I didn't know at the time. So I just started adding little bits of watercolour in my pieces here and there, cheeks, lips, and eyes. At the time, I was in Abruzzo, which is an area of central Italy with a national park with bears, wolves, and wildlife. So I liked incorporating that into my paintings. I'm going to flip through fast the ones I don't like. I was using a lot of pencil at this point in my pieces because I really didn't know how to handle watercolor yet, and of course the sketchbook's paper was not suitable for holding a lot of water. Here are some wolves, and I think I'd like to revisit some of the pieces in these journals. As you can see, the pen, the ink was showing through the pages, so yeah, definitely not suitable for wet medias. Oh, this one was awful. This one's background was inspired by the wall in a Chinese restaurant. When I went back home, I painted the wall. I think it's cute. I really like the idea of tree heads, and I have been experimenting with it recently. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that. I really like this girl with a golden ink. It's Winsor & Newton golden ink. So I like the idea of that black and white, that grayscale portrait with the gold ink on it. More tree heads and moving more towards watercolor and trying to leave different mediums behind. So I have some ink in here and some pencil, but yeah, I was using more watercolor and the pages were not taking it well. This was a challenge by Journey Marisha, I think it's on Instagram. This was just a doodle with a cute cat face. This was an idea which never got finished. This was something I did the other day for another video. And on the next page, me and my mother were trying to sketch my dad when he was younger. So I stopped here, and I'm still using this, for ideas and thumbnails. But at the same time, more or less the same time, I also got this Hannah Mule sketchbook for watercolor, and I had this at a market. Christmas market I hosted. So this started in spring 2019. As you see, I had the labels of the watercolors taped to the inside cover, and I was swatching in there. And this was my first watercolor painting. It was a tutorial by Lioba Bruckner, I think she's called. I was pretty proud of it back then, but actually there's loads of wax pencil over it, so it's looking pretty yellow. And this was another tutorial by the same person. I used lots of other media like gelatos by Faber-Castell, pencil, acrylics. I really like this one as well. I like the idea of her holding the blackbird, and I would like to go back and revisit it with my new honed skills. Joan of Arc, I used acrylic for the black background, gold acrylic, red acrylic, and white gel pen, but the main character is watercolor. Didn't really like this one. Wasn't too happy with this one either. Nor was I happy with this one. That's why I was flipping through so fast. Kind of undecided about this one. Never got around to finishing this one, which was my two sons. And I really like this one, Athena, the goddess of war. And I would like to go back and revisit her. The helmet is gold acrylic. As you can see, it's very shiny. Yeah, and that is a character. This is a piece I'd like to go back and do with watercolor, just with watercolor, and maybe some gold ink for the helmet. This one, as you can see, I'm using more and more watercolor. I have recently posted a picture on Instagram of this revisited piece. Practice. This was mermaid, I think. I think I can see the tail of a mermaid on the right hand corner at the bottom over there. So the Hahnemuhle paper is good, but it won't hold a lot of water, so beware of that if you're buying one of these sketchbooks. I was using less and less pencil and more watercolor as I moved further into this sketchbook. My first attempt at a rose, horrible. I didn't bother really going in and finishing the hair. I just like the feel of that white hair with the writing in it. Just, testing, trial and error, going more towards watercolor, trying to use less pencils. And this was a tutorial by Kirsty Partridge, and there was nothing else but watercolor in this one, and I really liked it. In fact, I did it like 2 or 3 times. This is also a tutorial by Kirsty Partridge. There was some white gouache in this, but the rest is all watercolor. An underwater lady. I love painting ladies underwater, kind of Ophelia-esque style with hair like seaweed, kind of floating in nothingness. This was an idea that never... This is a mess. I don't know what happened here. This was my first attempt at using masking fluid. As you can see, it didn't go very well. It looks like there was a ghost in the background, but overall, I really like this piece. More girl in the water style. And here the sketchbook was finished, so I'm showing you some pieces that I did, I think, on this was Artist's Loft paper. So this paper doesn't take a lot of watercolor either, but I was using more watercolor than I was in the Hahnemuhle sketchbook. This is a portrait of my son, who really likes koi carp, but almost all animals, but koi carp are very artistic, very suitable for painting. Lady Godiva, or whatever she was. I like this one a lot, but I was still using a little bit of pencil in here. And here I was trying to go a little bit more expressive, adding dollops of paint a bit all over the place. Another lady under the water. And the next one coming up is what I'm really proud of. It was a challenge hosted by Tales Fantastic on Instagram about painting mermaids in your hometown, which in my case is Rome. And I really liked how this turned out, and this one was like completely watercolor, but I never got around to finishing because there was something about it that didn't convince me. And more watercolor. I'd completely abandoned any other medium here, so I was just using watercolor. These pieces are more recent. In fact, if you want to get a better look at them, you can follow me on Instagram at the handle Drawings in a Drawer. You can also take my Skillshare class on Skillshare, following the link in the description box. If you're already on Skillshare, it's called Woman in Watercolor by Fiona Di Pinto. And this was my Harry Potter portrait with Daniel Smith when I was testing my Daniel Smith dot chart. So that's all, guys, and thank you for watching this video. If you've watched it till the end, I'm super appreciative. And if you would click that like and subscribe button, you would make my day. I will be posting videos every Friday, and I hope you'll join me on this journey. So see you soon, guys.